So just a very quick note that if you missed yesterday's video with me talking about how we get to 2000 by the end of next year, you should really go see it. I'll put the card at the end, but it's maybe one of the most compelling and important videos I've ever done. And I think you should go back and watch it if you didn't already see it. I think what happened was that YouTube screwed up. And so they took it down for a minute and then they put it back up. And I think that threw off the algo. So you may not have seen it, but it's up now. And I'll put a card at the end. All right, let's see. So much news right now. Oh my goodness, let's go. All right, so Elon Musk says the chip design review continues tomorrow for Optimus, followed by the Optimus demo review. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean there's going to be an Optimus demo on Thursday? Huge, huge, crazy. Yeah, let's see what's going to happen on that's got to be what that means, right? Okay. Next, we've got from Michael Arwet, Arouet. Can you name something Tesla does that BYD or Xiaomi cannot do? Well, cannot might be a long story, but let's talk about what Jeff Lutz, the Jeff Lutz, of course, is how he goes on X. Let's see what he had to say about that. He says, easy. Number one, make an EV profitably. Number two, make the number one selling EV in their own home turf, China, and then also in the world. Number three, how about full P2P self-driving, like parking to parking. Number four, how about robotaxi service? No, they don't do that. How about number five, Optimus? That's completely a different world. How about number six, Xiaomi can't do Tesla Energy or AutoBidder. How about number seven, build and operate their own AI training clusters? And then he took a break and came back. Obviously thought, well, I got more than that. How about design their own inference chips and soon dual purpose inference training? How about nine, deploy the largest global EV charging network anywhere? And how about number by far, by a lot, by so much you can't even think about it. And then number 10, how about build and ship in the US market? Oh yeah, the biggest market in the world, biggest car market. Well, I guess the second biggest car market, right, in terms of total units, but I think maybe in dollars, the U.S. is number one. Anyway, so now here we go. This is critical. Musk says there will be no steering wheels in cybercabs. Please, let's just get that. All right. And Grok insists. Grok and I went back and forth. And after much argument, he says the $2,500. This $2,500. The 2,500 unit limit that NHTSA has about this does apply, forcing a waiver-heavy pivot or some kind of a difference. All right, that's what the latest is from Grok. I've gone back and forth. Tesla must navigate the exemptions iteratively without allowing the Cybercab's core design, without altering the Cybercab's core design. The revised playbook sequence for a March-April 2026 ramp emphasizing aggression. So we know that we're planning to ramp the Cybercab in the second quarter. That means we need to get this thing taken care of before March or April. Number one, immediate AVEP petition filed for the first 2,500 no controls unit under streamlined rules, demoing safety, demoing the fact that they can have disengagements of greater than 1 per 1,000 miles, and also in the public interest, autonomy's 94% human error reduction. If they can prove both of those things, they should be able to get an exemption. Approval by January would enable Austin pilots generating telemetry for follow-ons. Number two, waiver escalation. Seek Zoox and Neuro, N-U-R-O, inspired demonstration exemptions. Zoox's August 2025 unlimited low-volume grant cap, it lifted their numbers to 10 to 50,000 geo-fenced into AV-friendly zones. They want to tie this to the April 2025 AV framework metrics, proving equivalence for FMVSS gaps. Okay, so if they can prove that they're at least as good as Zoox, then they should be able to get at least the 10 to 50,000 level. Number three, political lobbying. Capitalize on Trump's post-2024 win for DOT deregulation, completely eliminating the regulations, or setting up a new set of regulations, which are going to be more data-driven. Number four, Musk's advisory ties could yield executive orders akin to a 2017's AV push, accelerating AV steps, safety through enhanced performance finalization. That would potentially uncap data-driven AVs by Q1 2026. Tesla's $1 billion plus lobbying muscle targets interim innovation waivers for 100,000 units. Then number five, the State Department, NAB permits in 10 states, Texas, Arizona, California, etc., for no driver operations, $5 million of insurance, remote monitoring. This absorbs the initial $2,500 funding revenue while federal hardware resolves, expanding to 20 plus metros by mid-year. Number 11, production and iteration. Batch exempt waves at 500 per week, ramping via Optimus bots. Q1 pilots, 100 million miles. So in Q1, they would have Q1 pilots that would reach 100 million miles, fuel quarterly renewals, doubling output, mirroring Cruise's 2025 path to 10,000 deployed. And then finally, contingencies, temporary imports, extra 2,500 VINs or UAE pilots for reimports if NHTSTA stalls, and you could monitor Q4 dockets for CAB proposals. So you could say, okay, now, first of all, I don't know exactly how that part of the rules work, but the suggestion here is that maybe you could import the Tesla vehicles from China or from Berlin, and each of those vehicles made in a different factory would represent another 2,500 that you could add. It says this nets 5,000 to 10,000 Cybercabs by April in U.S. pilots, with 20,000 plus per week scale likely in Q3, even if you don't get the relief. The risks, review delays, or data shortfalls, but Tesla's edge, vertical integration, FSD beta expansion, those things outpace the rivals, and that doesn't count the in with the president. All right, I think that's very clear. I hope that helps you to understand what we're up against. This is Randy Kirk. You need to buy the book. If you haven't bought the book, have you seen the reviews? There's a 26, I think now, 5-star reviews, and one-star review that somebody that didn't read the book. I've done a lot of books. You can see all my books on the shelf back here. I've written a lot of books. I have self-published a lot of books. I think I'm up to number 5 or 7, 6, 7, maybe even more. I think more, maybe closer to 10 books that I've self-published on Amazon. I've never had 26 5-star ratings with basically no 4-star, 3-star, 2. I mean, this is incredible. So the book is really, really good, and you need to read it. Inflation is picking up, according to trueflation. Here's the bad news. Huge spike in other accommodations, that is hotels, etc. Seems odd to have a huge spike, but me and other grandpas and grandmas are traveling because we got lots of money now. We've made all kinds of money in the stock market, our homes. Durables and shoes and clothing are finally getting hit by the tariffs, I think, because we're seeing those go up, much more than before. And I think what happens is you've now exited all the inventory that was at the old cost, and now the inventory for Christmas is in. You've got to bump the price up, and you've also got to bump, the thing with clothes and shoes is you always, at the beginning, you put them really high. That way you can discount them as you're getting close to and that's a fact. I mean, that's not something I'm making up. Remember, I've written a few books on retail. Education is climbing again. I don't know why. I don't understand how that could be possible. Recreation and cultural is also up, but it's still hanging out around 3%. Same thing for personal items, about 3%, but those personal items, some of those are being impacted by the tariffs. Now, here's key. You may recall, this is something that, I want to really make sure everybody understands. I think the only worrisome part about is inflation, the inflation picture, is wage inflation. Almost all of the items that are increasing above are services that require lots of wages. And the wages are a huge part of those services. This truly could ignite inflation. I don't think it'll invite it big time, but it could get it going in the wrong way. But according to everybody, you read the headlines, AI is killing jobs and the terrible economy. What? The terrible economy? It's growing at 3.9% anyway, but according to the headlines, the terrible economy is killing jobs. But wait a minute, the wages are going up around 5%. Wages are not going to go up at 5% if there's not enough jobs. All those people that are graduating from college that can't find jobs, I don't think they're trying hard. So I'm going to say it again. President Trump, your base is going to be mad at you for this for a minute. Okay, but it'll be just for a minute. If you can explain it well enough, if you can tell the story the right way, maybe you need Rubio to drag out the old immigration plan. Remember, we only stopped the immigration plan. We said it very clearly. The Republicans only stopped the immigration plan because we said, hey, build the wall. We need to build the wall first. We need to make sure we don't have just another wave coming in because we gave people a pathway to citizenship. So this is politically savvy on so many levels. If Trump comes out and says, okay, we're done with the ICE thing. Thank you very much, guys. That was really great. I mean, we're going to continue to find the criminals. We're continuing to throw people out there in the gangs. We're going to keep on doing all of that, but we're going to really stop with the rest of the folks. Now, we will give priority to those people who self-deport and then make immediate application to come back in. If you do that, and we'll give you $1,000 to do that. And if you do that, you're going to go to the top of the list. You're going to be the most likely ones to get a green card, most likely ones to get on a path to citizenship. Now, for the rest of you, we're not going to really aggressively go after you to get you out of the country, but you're not going to be on the pathway to citizenship. Maybe eventually, but not immediately. So you do all this kind of stuff. Now, what are you doing? You're ingratiating yourself with that community. You're saying, okay, listen, this is what we've been waiting for. We've always said that if there was a wall and there wasn't going to be another wave, that we were willing to talk. Well, we're willing to talk now. This is what we're willing to do. That is going to ingratiate the Trump administration with that entire class of voters that the Democrats were hoping for. It's going to completely eliminate all of the fuss and everything that's going on in terms of fighting the administration over immigration, because the fight will be taken away. You'd be triangulating those people and taking away one of their lead concerns and complaints. And then finally, what it's going to do is going to leave enough people in the country to allow this inflation thing not to get out of control. In fact, you might have to bring in some more, especially in those industries that are hardest hit by this wage inflation. But, you decide how to do all that. You're smarter than me. Anyway, I believe that's the way to do it. I've been saying that for a long time. I know in the comments below, you're going to say, no, Randy, you can't let any more people in. And, you got to throw all these people out that have come in the last 3 years. Okay, that's fine. And I'm not talking about mowing your lawn or cleaning your house. I'm talking about having enough labor for the economy to be successful and not become inflationary. I'm just trying to be pragmatic. Now, the market's going to be paying a lot of attention this week to the Fed governors and the presidents, because a lot of them are speaking this week, and there's hardly any other data unless the government opens back up again. Even then, I think it's going to be a while before we're going to get the data. So I'm going to be monitoring those Fed governors and those Fed presidents, and I'm going to be giving you updates on what they're saying, okay? Because I know you're not going to listen to all that stuff, so I'm going to do it for you, and I'm going to keep you appraised, because what we want to do is we want to start getting an idea of how people are voting and whether, and that's what and believe me, the betting markets are going to be doing the same things. And so we'll watch the betting markets. And between those two, we should be able to start to get an idea of what is going to happen in December. Already the bonds are rallying again and the rates are coming down on the 10-year. That suggests that these people think the December cut is going to be fine, but we're still way over where we were before Powell spoke. So we got a way to go. So we'll be monitoring all of that. Now, what is trueflation? What is trueflation saying right now about inflation? Inflation index went up. Like I said, we're now at 2.69 in the overnights. Remember, we were right around 2.15 just a couple of weeks ago. Now, trueflation gets all these numbers in, and it can change pretty quickly. Goods inflation at 2.86. Now, that's going to be mostly, the one that's most impacted by the tariffs. But even there, again, subtract out at least 8 to 10 points out of that based on tariffs that are non-inflationary, you'd be down closer to 2. Core inflation at 2.46. We'll talk about this in a minute. Let's see. Oh yeah, I already did mention that. I mean, basically, the keys to core inflation are housing, and goods, services, not oil and stuff. So, and you've got the services inflation at 2.61. And you've got the PCE at 2.74, which is about where the government says it is. Now, let's take a look at the other aspect of all of this, and that would be the dollar. The dollar is exhibiting short-term strength. It's rebounded in late October and early November, driven by factors like the U.S. economic data, which is outpacing expectations, and also safe haven flows because it's still the best currency you can possibly be in. So this has boosted the dollar against both the big basket and the small basket. Longer term weakness over the year, the dollar's declined over the whole year because of anticipated Fed rate cuts, global growth recovery in Europe and Asia, and policy uncertainties. The broader basket, the big basket that includes, I think it has 12 or 15 currencies in it, that one shows slightly more depreciation, reflecting weakness against the emerging market currencies, and those stock markets have been doing very, very well. All right, the DXY is around mid-2023 levels, while the broad index, that's I think it's only 5 or 6 countries in that one, while the broad index remains elevated historically. We're actually above historic numbers on the broader index. So the dollar, everybody yelling and screaming about the end of the dollar. No, not happening. We're back to 2023 levels on the small basket and elevated against the big basket. Now we will get some data this week, but the most important stuff, of course, we're not going to get. But there's some good data. So let's talk about it. We got the S&P final U.S. manufacturing PMI. That will be on what day is that? I can't tell what day that's Monday. On Monday, we'll get S&P manufacturing, and they're not giving us expectations. I think my source was behind the 8 ball. I'm going to say manufacturing is doing a little better, and so we'll see whether that's true because we get ISM and S&P both on manufacturing. We will not get construction spending, and then we'll get some governors talking, and then we got on Tuesday, more governors and presidents talking. That's all. Nothing on Tuesday. Wednesday, we get ADP employment. So that, again, they're not giving us a guess. Last time it was really low, if you remember. Was it really negative 32,000? That seems crazy. Anyway, I'm saying it'll be up, but it might be flat, might be 0. It might be up 20,000. It's not going to be up very much. That's just my opinion. And it doesn't matter. The economy doesn't need this to grow in order for the economy to grow right now. It's growing in where? Yeah, you know where. It's growing in this the Magnificent Seven. Then we get on to Wednesday. We also get all of the services PMIs, the S&P and the ISM. Those both come out on Wednesday. And then we do not get initial jobless claims until later in the day on Thursday from Reuters and Bloomberg. So we've been keeping that, but it's been fine. It's been great. Those have been good numbers. And then we get more Fed. We do not get U.S. productivity or wholesale inventories. And then we get a bunch of Fed governors talking that day. So we'll keep following that. More Fed governors and presidents on Friday. And then the U.S. employment, as far as we know, we're not going to get the employment numbers on Friday from the U.S. government. We do get consumer sentiment, the one that I think is worthless on Friday. And I think that'll actually potentially be starting to show some gains. we'll see. Even though it's biased, I think we can see some gains there. And then consumer credit, that information will come out late on Friday, so I won't be able to report on that until later in the day with whoever I'm able to find on Friday after the Tesla meeting on Thursday, because half my people that I interview are going to be in Austin for this shareholders meeting. And so that's what you got coming up next week. Now, let's see. That's okay. That's all I have, except what's the other thing you want to know right now, right? It's going to take me a second to get it because I didn't plan well. So let's just see if I can find it without too much difficulty here. I already blew it once, so give me a break. Here we go. All right, here we go. What is Tesla doing on Sunday night as we open up? We're at 458. We closed last week at 456. So I am not impressed with this game. 458.64. It is going up. But I thought that the information that we got on Thursday and Friday as a result of those podcasts that Musk was involved in, I thought those might really give the market a kind of a pick-me-up with regard to Tesla. So Tesla right now, as of this minute, looks to be just following along with the market, which is up slightly. So let's take a look at those numbers. We go to the bonds, which are at. We've got the bonds here sitting, if I can find, here we go. The bonds are still down 1.8 basis points. That's where they've been ever since the overnight markets opened. It's 1.8 down at 408.3. Remember, we were as high as 4.11, but we've got a way to go to get back to 3.9. We have got we've got the oil fields at up 29 cents, 61.27, still saying real normal. Natural gas is one of the things that's causing some inflation right now in terms of utility bills, even as electricity, not too bad, but natural gas is way up. So natural gas at $4.10, down 0.61 in the going so far. Gold down another 13 at 39.83. Come on, 3,400. I'm sorry, if you own gold, you probably don't like the fact that I'm desiring gold to go back to 3,400, but I believe that's where it's going. And not investment advice. Silver at down 0.32, $48 per ounce. Got copper up a little bit, 0.28. It's still over $5, $5.10, but right about where it's been. And then for today, we've got the Japanese yen down and the euro up, and the Japanese yen has been falling a lot against the dollar recently. We've got Bitcoin down 692, back under 110 at 109,540, and Ethereum down 0.44%, way under 4,000 at 38.58. The pre-market for tomorrow morning, we have got the Dow up 142, that's 0.3, S&P up 0.35, and the NASDAQ up 0.43. All of those showing very nicely directionally. Tesla still sitting where we just talked about. Okay, so Cern Basher was on this morning. And again, last night I did that show where I talked about how we're going to get to 2000. I think I made a compelling argument. I had a lot of back and forth on it on X today with a lot of folks. People were very interested in my analysis. Remember, all of my analyses are based on the things that Elon Musk has said, or Cathie Wood in some cases may have also said, but I may take other people into consideration. But I never make any analysis. Well, I don't think so. Maybe I have, but I rarely make any analysis financially that isn't backed up by Musk's own words. Okay, so if Musk thinks we're going to hit 1 million robotaxis by the fourth quarter of next year, then I think it's okay. I think it's fair to make an analysis, and nobody should say, Randy, your analysis is nuts. How could you possibly make such a crazy analysis? Well, it's not crazy. It's what Musk is saying is going to happen. Now that if you take half of that or 10% of that, you can still get pretty darn close to my number by the end of next year. So if I'm a power of 10, if I'm an order of magnitude under Musk's own estimates, wouldn't that be a reasonable estimate? I think it would be reasonable. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. So I'll put both of those cards up. The CERN Basher from this morning, mine from last night. Normal day tomorrow, as far as I know. Oh, we have later on tonight yet a Brian Wang coming up also. I'll probably put that up right around 8 o'clock, California time, of course, as always. All right, that's all I got for you right now. I hope you're having a great day, and it's been great talking to you.